Joys of a cell phone. Good evening, everybody there. At the last council meeting, I asked everybody around the table there what they thought there of the meeting there, and I was kind of worried there. There's too many of us in this small room there, and when you see what's going on there, the Premier of BC was on the news there tonight there, and Vancouver has no cases in the last month. And Fern Dominelli phoned me last night at 5:30, and there's cases developing in Kenora. So it makes me worried there that maybe Northern Ontario are going to start to get hit there. So I'm glad we're going back to this way for the next meeting, maybe 2 meetings, 3 meetings there, to see if this all gets under control. So does anybody have a problem with going back to the way we're doing it there today?
To be honest with Susan, I didn't think that we had a problem. I mean, the numbers, they say we can gather as many as 10 in a room, and I thought there was enough distance there, but it's an individual thing, I suppose. Glenda, myself, I agree with Susan. The regulations that I have through public health every district is that if we are to be closer than the specified space, that we wear masks, and the gathering is 10 now, so I don't really see an issue with gathering. No.
Yeah, but they're specifying there are 5 people there, and when you get in this room there, we're closer than 2 meters apart there, and I was kind of worried there, and talking to Kim.
That's why the mask, and it's 10 now.
10 comes into effect the same as the stage 2.
On Friday.
Yeah.
On Friday, yeah.
Yeah, it's not yet.
If everyone, it's Cheryl, I just think if everyone's not comfortable meeting in the meeting room, then we shouldn't do it. Everybody's got to be on the same page. So if everybody's not comfortable going in there, then this works also.
Well, this is Pat. I obviously wasn't comfortable last week. The staff and myself were the only ones wearing masks, and I seemed to be sitting pretty close to Dale and Kevin most of the time. So I was not happy. That's why I sat so far away with a chair. So I'm happy we've gone back to this system.
Okay. Start the meeting. Whereas there's a quorum of council president at time of 6 p.m. be it resolved this regular meeting be open for business and the minutes of the regular meeting of May the 27th, 2020 be approved. Kevin, will you move it there?
I will.
Pat Nanchuk, will you second it?
I second.
Glenda, are you in favor?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Dale?
Yes.
Susan? And I'm in favor.
Yes.
Motion's carried. In regards to the consent agenda, has anybody got anything to want to bring up there tonight there?
I don't.
In the disbursements or anything else there, the bridge and culvert tender?
Just a question, it's Cheryl. That, the bill for the conference call, it was number 756 on the disbursement to Bell Canada.
Yes.
Was that just for one conference call, $150?
No, that was for 2 calls, and since that time, I have called Bell and have a different arrangement for our teleconferencing system, where it's going to be a lot less than that now.
Oh, okay. I was just curious, like going, holy crap.
Yeah, no, that was a teleconference account that I had set up several years ago, not needing it very often. And so when I got the numbers for those 2 calls, I called them and got a different program.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, be it resolved that items A1 and G1 contained in the consent agenda be adopted. Glenda, will you move it?
I'll move it.
Cheryl, will you second it?
Yes, I will.
Dale, you in favor?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
Kevin?
I'm in favor.
Pat?
In favor.
Motion carried. In regards to summer employment, Kim?
So council had passed a resolution, I think 2 meetings ago, that we would not be hiring summer students. for the purpose of, or for the reason of COVID-19, and that we would take back some Parks and Recreation staff that had been laid off to do some of the yard work and grass cutting and so on that's required. We have had one of those Parks and Rec individuals quit from the township. So we felt that it was necessary to ask council if they could reconsider this to hire a couple students, just so that we can keep on track with all of the grass cutting that's necessary within the municipality, as well as the municipal flowers that were just delivered this week that we had tendered out for last fall. So I had done a poll for council and asked if they'd be willing to do that. So now I have a resolution that rescinds the original one and to accept the 2 students being hired.
Any,
This is Glenda. Are those the 2 that I saw today in Walford, with the truck, or was that somebody else?
Well, we do have 2
Cutting
students. Yeah, they probably were then. I'm not sure where they were today specifically, but they
Yeah.
did start this week.
Okay.
One of them is a returning student, one is a new one.
Okay.
any other questions, anybody?
None,
Okay, be it resolved that resolution 2020-115 be rescinded and the 2 students shall be hired for summer employment with the Public Works Department. Dale, will you move it?
Yes, I will.
Susan, you second it?
I'll second it.
Kevin, you for or against?
I'm for.
Pat Natchek?
4,
Glenda?
4.
Cheryl?
4,
And I'm in for it there. Motion carried. In regards to the Closh Hills, anybody got any concerns there they want to bring forward?
The what, Les? I'm sorry, I didn't. know.
The Closh Hills minutes at the meeting there that we had on May 13th in town of Espanola.
Oh.
It was a conference call as well.
Susan here. I just wondered if you just want the presence of more OPP at the meeting. Is that what you're saying? More than one?
Well, we didn't have none. And
You're having none? Oh, goodness.
yeah,
Wow. Should have
Yeah.
one and an alternative person as well, for sure.
and then Foster there were brought up in regards to OPP there and the committee there, and they've got one going on in Manitoulin Island there, and I said the Closh Hills should have a member sitting on that Manitoulin as well, because when you're talking
Glenda, I
to
agree, yeah.
when you're talking to people on Manitoulin Island there, and vice versa to La Cloche there, we want the same message going out there, because it's the same department there policing both of us. Any concerns, anybody?
None from me, Susan here.
Okay, be it resolved that attached to the Cloche Hills Municipal Association meeting report of May 13th, 2020 be accepted. Kevin, you move it there?
I'll move.
Pat Natchek, we second it.
Pat Natchek, second.
Wendy, for or against?
4.
Cheryl?
4.
Dale?
4.
Susan?
4.
And I'm for it there. Motion carried. In regards to senior housing there and long-term care, Lee Peters and I had 2 or 3 meetings there with individuals there that were interested in starting senior housing there or any kind of housing in this municipality there, and we've looked at properties and this and that there, and the individuals have never come back there and with a plan there if they want to carry it through. And Del Ron is a prime example, says he's got more work in Sudbury. We had 2 or 3 meetings with him, and he doesn't indicate there that he wants to come this far west of Sudbury there.
Basically, we have nobody interested in developing.
Well, we have people interested there, but there's no money out there to help individuals. That's the problem. There was money out there to help build.
and money to help run it, but yeah, there's
I can't
grants
hear what Kevin's
available.
saying.
No, I can't either.
Well, there's grants available per bid, and there's grants available to municipalities, but that's not gonna get it built.
Well, no,
We need a contractor that's willing to work with us to build, right? Because we can't, as a municipality, we can't really build a seniors building.
Can
Well-
we advertise that we are looking for a contractor that might be interested in that for this area, for students?
As a
Something
municipality,
like that.
you can.
Hmm?
You can build and run long-term care, but it takes deep pockets.
And the problem with our municipality being in rural in nature is we can't provide total, full municipal services anywhere.
No, not compared to a.
We can't
a
provide
large
water
municipality.
and sewage, so it's,
Well, there won't be any sewage, that's right, that definitely is a drawback.
and anywhere in the rural area, you don't have water or sewer, yeah.
Yeah, but can't you get around that with like a field bed like you do for?
Yeah.
Well, under engineering would determine what would be required.
And a well, you
Yeah.
know, I mean, it is possible.
with 5 units there, you can go with a sewer system there or a septic bed there.
The unfortunate thing, this is Glenda talking, that I've been hearing lately from anybody that I've approached is that they're in for a for-profit when they build, and most people are on a pension and have no money, so they wouldn't be able to afford the units.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
That's been the problem
Yeah.
all along.
Exactly, and it hasn't changed.
Yeah, the investors will come and, but they do, want to have decent rent, but if they can't afford to pay the rent for it, then,
But what I said to them was that if you were assigned to a long-term care facility, whether for-profit or not, it costs $1,500 a month to have that person there. So would you rather not? I'm telling people, would you rather pay that $1,500 to be on your own with assisted living, or would you rather be shipped out to somewhere that you get placed? You know?
Well, it depends on the circumstances. too.
Actually, they were quite surprised because they were not aware how much it costs for, this is a semi-private room in government facility, okay? That would cost $1,500 a month for that one person to stay and not even have a private room. So to have a small apartment, to pay the same thing like they would be in Espanola is really not a bad deal. You just have to know how to approach people about it.
Dale here. I just saw some advertising in Elliott Waken for, I believe it starts at 1,500. There's single bedroom apartments available. There's houses available, and it all starts somewhere just under $2,000.
Yep, yep.
unfortunately, that's the reality, isn't it, But, nothing says we can't, advertise for someone that's interested in that, right? This is Susan again, to see if there's any interest and, they would do the investigation into the feasibility of it and go from there. At least we're inviting that, don't you think?
Well, that's what I'm saying, Susan. Tell the investors, yes, but you have to inform the public that are looking to downsize or sell their house or move into that they can afford it because they're doing it now and they would have to do it if they went into care as well.
Yeah.
So they're actually doing it now.
And we
So
can
you're
open up the
empowering,
door.
you're empowering them for the knowledge to know that, yes, it is an affordable thing if it has to be, yeah.
And we can open the door for people that are maybe not residents of our area right now, but may entice them to come here if it's
Yeah.
so it's not just our residents. But certainly our residents are our primary concern.
Okay, if everybody's in favor there, and if somebody's got a name of an individual company or a person there that's interested there, could you give it to Kim there, and we'll write a nice little letter and ask them if they're interested there, and the municipality is willing to work with anybody, and see where we can go with it?
Sorry, Les, can we not even
put that in, on our website or in our advertising that we're looking for an investor that might be interested in that?
Well, we
And
could,
put it out to the public?
we could put that on our website, but if you got an individual's name there,
Yeah, for sure, if we do
Yeah.
have one, pass it along, but it's nice to just get it out there too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree-
we
I
need to
agree.
advertise. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree, we have to get it out there. So,
yeah, we have to advertise.
It's gotta be somewhere more than local, it's gotta be in the Sud Star type of paper, or the Globe and Mail, or something, Toronto Star, something like that. The ones that the
And maybe even with the real estate companies, you know, talk to the local real estate people, they might know some investors.
yeah, it's worth a try there, because there could be an individual that we don't even know that's interested in doing this.
Well, is that free advertising on each Link community page, or? A lot of people watch the community pages. Where's that, in Espanola? No, East Link. Oh, anybody who has East Link, I don't know, I have a community page.
No, I don't see one.
Any other comments, anybody?
I have a comment, Les.
Go ahead, Derek, Gail. Yeah.
You said you talked with Lee Peters. Are there possible properties that are available in the community right now?
There was two that the individual was interested there, and most likely both of them will be for sale.
So maybe we should try to get on top of pursuing that so that we don't miss out on an opportunity, because we certainly need a substantial size of property to encompass. I'm hoping maybe it ends up being more than, maybe in the plan, the long-term plan, it can be more than one building.
Yeah, because if you don't have sewers, you can go with the 5 units there, so you could do 2, 3, 5s, and same as they did in Lions Head, and that's how he got around it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, smaller units, a couple of smaller units or whatever.
Well, they're smaller, but they're 1,000 square foot facilities or rooms there, because I went through them there with Noreen Clement, and there was a couple other young ladies there, and
Sarah?
Era was another one there. The beautiful units there, so. Plus, they're set up there for seniors there, that the doors are wide enough if you had to use a wheelchair at the end of your term there, if you want to live by yourself.
Where are these ones that we're talking about, Les?
In Lions Head there.
Near Tobermory.
Oh, I see.
If you ever get a chance to go over there, just drive into Lions Head there, and there's about 6 units over there, and that's what he's doing. He designed it there, and she's the one that set it all up inside.
I see.
Okay, the motion reads, be it resolved that we would like to have a seniors complex established in our municipality, and that we advertise for developers, investors for the expression of interest.
No motion, Glenda.
Cheryl, will you second it? Susan? Kevin, are you for it?
I'm for it.
Pat Natchuk?
I'm in favor.
Glenda? You're in favor? Cheryl?
I'm in favor.
Dale?
In favor.
Susan's in favor there for sure? So am I. Motion carried. In regards to the fuel tender there, and anybody read the comments that Kim gave there?
Yes.
I would like to stay with Blue Wave. The service we've got in the last 2-3 years with Blue Wave is excellent there. McDougall, we ran out of fuel there, and they compensated us a couple $100 every time we ran out, but it cost us a couple $100 to get the Goshtown system back up and running there.
Quite a bit more when it was the arena.
Yeah, so I'd like to stay. The only difference is it's cheaper on the propane there, Blue Wave, than McDougall there, but McDougall's a little bit cheaper on the fuel, but not much there to speak of.
No.
And it goes by it goes by rack price for every Friday.
Well, if Blue Wave's been good, looking at the pricing, we'll win on half of it. I think we should just stick with them.
Excuse me, I can't hear anything he's saying.
Sorry. I said, we're gonna win on the furnace oil and the propane. The diesel's a little more expensive, but if they've been giving us good service at Blue Wave, then let's stick with them.
Why don't we ask them to match that other price then, Les, like we've done with a couple other contractors?
Well, we can always ask if they'll match McDougal's price on a diesel.
We can try there, and if you don't, is everybody in favor staying with Blue Wave?
I'm in
Yes.
favor,
Yes.
Okay,
Carol, yes.
but let's try.
Well, can we make that decision in 2 weeks when they get back to us with an answer?
This contract ends July 1st, so new equipment will have to be put in place before then if it's going to change.
So. Okay, well, if they read our minutes, they're gonna say, well, look, they've already approved it, we don't have to play ball with them, that's all.
Well,
I'll
I
contact them
just
first
think
thing
that
in the
Blue Wave
morning.
service is better.
I'll be contacting them first thing in the morning, and our minutes aren't typed that early.
I understand.
because I think McDougal's tanks are still in our yard, are they not?
No, we took them away.
We took them away.
Yeah,
Yeah, after how many years? 2 years?
yeah, and a few
Yeah.
emails to say come and get them.
Yeah, so. Okay, motion reads, be it resolved, the proposals for our request for quotes for our fuel requirements for July 2020 to July 2023 be accepted from Parkland Corporation operating as Ultramar for furnace oil and propane. What about diesel?
Yeah, they're both in there for the fuel.
Okay.
2 different fuels.
Because your furnace oil and propane, there's no, okay. Cheryl, will you move it there?
Yes, I will.
Dale, will you second it?
Yes, I will.
Susan, are you for or against?
For,
Kevin?
I'm for.
Pat?
favor,
Glenda?
for,
I'm for it. Motion carried. In regards to urban agriculture there, anybody got any comments?
I see, Kim did, this is Susan here, Kim did some research and no other communities have it, and I understand that, you know, to police it would be very difficult, and they're recommending that we don't, right?
Correct.
That's what I.
I was opposed from the beginning, so.
Well, I think we just, you know, we had to do due diligence and look into what the trends are, and, you know, do a little investigating before we decide on that. So we did that, so here we go.
I think we've done due diligence. Or Kim has, sorry. And the office staff, yeah.
Any other comments, anybody?
Nope, none from Pat.
Okay, be it resolved after due consideration, council confirms that the position resolution 2014-293 to not permit the raising of backyard chickens in urban areas of the municipality. Pat Natchick, will you move it?
I will move that motion.
Glenda, will you second it?
Yes.
Cheryl, for or against?
For,
Dale?
Or,
Susan?
or,
Kevin?
For.
And I'm for it. Motion carried. In regards to tax ratios, anybody got any concerns?
nothing from Pat.
Pat, the line's on the telephone. If anybody's got any concerns there with it there, you can.
None from Glenda.
None from Kevin.
None from Susan.
Dale or Cheryl?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, be it resolved, the following bylaws be read a first and second time. Bylaw 2020-22 being a bylaw to establish tax ratios for the year 2020. Bylaw 2020-23 being a bylaw to set tax ratios for the year 2020. Dale, will you move it there?
Yes, I will.
Susie, you second it?
I'll second it.
Kevin, you for or against?
I'm for.
Pat?
Pat in favor?
Glenda?
For.
Cheryl?
For.
And I'm for it. Motion carried. Be it resolved, the following bylaws be read a third and final time, passed in open council. Bylaw 2020-22 being a bylaw to establish tax ratios for the year 2020. Bylaw 2020-23 being a bylaw to set the tax rates for the year 2020. Glenda, you move it there?
Yes.
Cheryl, you second it?
Yes, I will.
Dale, you for or against?
I'm for.
Susan?
For.
Kevin?
I'm for.
Pat?
In favor?
Glenda?
For.
And Cheryl's for it?
Yes.
And I'm for it. Motion carried. Has anybody got anything else they want to bring up there tonight, dear?
Linda, quickly, I just received a few calls wondering when the town office is going to be officially open. I'm just going to supply answers personally to people. They just wonder when it's going to be unlocked for business.
For what reason?
Same here.
For what reason there? Because anybody can phone there and still get the service that you need.
Just because the public, you know, there's a lot of public places opening, so why aren't we opening up? You know? You can't do everything over the phone.
But you can go to the office if you need to pick something up. I don't understand.
We have a contractor who is working on making a barrier for us at our front counter. That that is not ready yet or installed, but I know that office staff, anytime after that is in place, they're fine with it. This is part of the conversation that I was hoping council would have pursuant to the email I sent to you earlier this week, and it's only been done this week since the stage 2 reopening has been announced by Premier Ford. There are some areas where it does affect our municipality, such as libraries, where we can have permitted limited on-site services. We'll be following up on that. Playgrounds and play structures, however, are still closed. There are some recreation areas and activities that can operate low contact, allowing for 2-meter physical distancing between patrons. For example, people can go and practice on the ball field, but they can't have an actual game as of yet. There's also the Mouth Park to consider, and a decision has to be made whether or not Heritage Park washrooms will be reopened, taking into consideration the availability of staff for the frequent disinfecting throughout each and every day that is required, and as well as the safety of our students who usually perform that work.
And how often is that supposed to be done?
At least 4 times a day.
And is that feasible for our staff?
Well, they only work 8, so it would have to be closed after their 8-hour shift.
Yeah, I mean, we need to do a little bit opening up like that, because I know just as a person traveling, it's very frustrating when there's no washrooms to go to, and you know, and it does get people to stop and shop in our area when they use the washroom. So I mean, if it's doable, I think that
There have been no public washrooms open anywhere, so I don't know. I mean,
there's more open now. Now they're saying with this stage 2, there's more public washrooms open. I know I was in Sudbury today and they were all open.
Well, then the same goes for Mouse Park. If we open up Mouse Park, are we gonna?
Yeah.
You know.
We don't have a washroom there yet.
No, but we set up porta potties, right?
It will be cleaned.
Well, who's gonna clean those? Same thing.
Well, that's what I'm asking. You know, can our summer staff handle that?
Personally, I'd rather sit back there for another 2 weeks there and see how this all works out.
There's, I'm involved in a weekly webinar, and it is hosted by a law firm that works very closely with our municipal association. And one of their comments, every week we do discussions based on what's new and what's progressing with regards to COVID. And one of their comments was, you don't want to be the first to reopen, but you don't want to be the last. So.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be the first.
No.
Well, I don't think, Ms. Glenda, I really don't think that we're equipped for that at this point in time this week.
No, I agree,
Yeah,
Glenda.
I think that another week won't hurt anybody.
Well,
I don't
if-
think
if-
the students should be responsible for that. They're only
No.
doing a summer job, and I think that's a big responsibility. People can laugh if they want, and I love my public washrooms when I'm traveling, because as you get older, you need them more often. But I've come to realize that I wouldn't want to be the one that would have to go in every 2 hours and
No.
clean up,
we're
right?
putting
And
people
I
at
don't
risk.
think we should put our students, and it's not official till Friday, stage 2. And I think I'm in agreement that we wait another couple weeks and see how this progresses, because
You can add
Yeah.
this to the next council agenda to revisit
Yeah.
if you'd like.
Sounds good.
I mean,
I agree,
we
Cheryl.
revisit it. I just think there's no point rushing into it. I mean, people are adjusting, yes, things are reopening, but I think it's baby steps. I don't want to be the first one to have to report a case here, you know what I mean?
I totally
And it
agree.
is quite possible.
Well, it's like
Dale
the
here, I
library.
agree with Les, let's leave it till next meeting.
Yeah, I agree.
And
It's like the
we'll
library,
revisit.
the library's gonna be opening up there, but there's still rules to follow, and I haven't seen the whole draft yet
Well,
on it.
I think one of them was that the patrons shall not touch the books on the shelves. They can go
Right.
in by appointment, I believe, for limited computer use. So it is a limited
Very
service, but
limited, yeah.
And again, the library staff are going to be responsible now. Once that person uses a computer, they're going to have to disinfect it all.
Well,
Chair,
disinfect the
computer,
computers.
keyboard, whatever.
And it was
Are they
thought
gonna
that
be
we-
responsible for doing that? I assume so.
They take the responsibility when the doors open.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's the same
Like-
all over now. They're all doing it everywhere you go.
Yeah,
Well, the
but
thing
I'm
is
just
with
saying,
social-
like, do they want that responsibility? I hope so, because that's what they're gonna have to do, to protect themselves also.
Well, then we're gonna
Yeah.
have to cut the number of
Follow protocol.
computer terminals in half in order to satisfy social distancing.
Exactly, yeah.
So, it's a work in progress still, so.
Yeah,
Ms. Glenda, just ensure your staff's on board with that because some aren't.
yeah. And if they're not comfortable, like I say, then they shouldn't be made to do it, for lack of a better word.
In regards to the Walford Community Center there, is there a reason there or that they gotta open up there ASAP?
We're not looking at opening. Not till September probably,
That's it, that's perfect there.
I got a
until all the government's got their ducks in a row. I don't think it's, we'll just have to adjust accordingly.
And that goes for the arena as well.
Yeah. But like everything else, we'll take it a couple weeks at a time and see how it goes.
I have another question, building permits, where are we with that? Are
building
all
permits are being
allowed
issued.
now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Building permits were able to be issued a couple weeks ago. People are providing us with their applications, with their fees. Permits are being issued. Inspections are taking place.
And there's a house being built on the River Road as we speak right now. Homer Hardware has been down about 3-4 times with the material there, and the carpenters are down there with the footings all in there, and the walls are starting to come up.
That's good progress.
Yeah.
I have a question on sea cans. Do we tax them?
They require a building permit.
They require a building permit. That's, and that.
Cause it's just like a shed, right, that you
I
build,
was
only
questioned about it,
Yeah.
and that's what I said.
it's
There's no-
pre-made.
But it needs a building inspection, and somebody also asked, how many are we allowed to have on a property? And at what point does it become a,
Well, the zoning provides for a certain percentage of your lot to be occupied by buildings. So
okay,
that'll be calculated when a building permit application is submitted, because all
Okay.
the buildings have to show on the site plan. And a CCAN as an accessory building, like a shed, is assumed to be used for some sort of human use. People are gonna go into it.
storage?
So the
or
reason
what?
for the building permit is to
For
ensure that it
safety.
is safe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that covers that. I also have a question about why a private citizen had to cut the grass at the Webwood Library.
Yes, yes.
You know anything about that? How come our people didn't take care of that? We usually do,
We,
right?
I suppose, yes.
Oh, well.
At the Cenotaph area?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, no, that would be us that do it.
Well, I guess we were just late then.
Oh, well, I'll make a note to let Public Works know that it was done by a private individual, and
Okay.
Did they ask the municipality about it, or did you just go ahead and do it?
I just heard about it.
and nobody
Okay.
called.
No,
Sales.
I discussed it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I received a complaint, and so they were there on the 6th at the Cenotaph. Our first student had just started on the Monday, this Monday, and
Yeah.
I explained to them that we didn't have any students
Okay.
to be cutting grass at the moment. We did just get one student and another one, so we will have two, but which is comparable to 6 that we usually have, and they do the whole township. So I was not aware that somebody went and cut it though. So, but I did let Public Works know that it was an issue. So
Well, I'm sure it's.
yeah.
We're staying on top of that.
Yeah, I just told them with COVID and stuff, I said, you know what, we might
Well-
see a little bit more long grass in the community this summer.
Yeah,
And
and that's fine.
yeah,
I
it's,
had to
yeah,
ask the question.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Another thing about manholes in Webwood.
In the laneways there?
Well, there's issues about the laneways and how many potholes are in the laneways.
Yeah, but they did work on it.
We
Well, I
received
just-
complaints
I
on
saw
both of
that
those
in the
issues.
Public Works report
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah, we received complaints on
On
both of
both
those
those
issues, and
issues.
it was addressed by Public Works for the
Okay.
trip to Webwood.
Very good. That's all I have. Oh, one other thing. The creeks are getting pretty high at my place there, and I know that Robert Rowe was the guy that used to do it, but he's not getting out to do it, so.
No.
I know there's other trappers waiting in the wings,
There
and
is.
it's like, then
Yeah.
maybe we should make a move, 'cause,
Yeah. It's noted.
that's getting out of hand there at my.
I know it is.
It's
Like
noted.
it
We'll get
started
them
on
to-
the other side of the road, but now it's coming up on my side, so. Before it gets crazy and we have to spend a week or a month in there digging, it's like,
And it floods out somebody's basement.
yeah, well, I don't,
It's
Yeah.
Patricia DeLine here. May interject?
yeah,
If there is a request for drain maintenance, we have a form at the municipality for people to fill out if they want some maintenance done on the municipal drain, and then we forward that to the drain superintendent.
That's not a municipal drain there, Pat, there. That's right.
not that one.
No, it's just our areas.
Yeah.
our-
The municipal drains on the other side
Yeah.
of my property.
This is right at the
And
bridge
I don't
here.
ever request that one because it usually costs me a fortune.
We'll look
No,
into
that
this,
one's
yeah.
fine. I'm fine with that one, but it's the one that goes under Lee Valley Road.
Yeah.
It's like we're 3/4 of the way up and
And it's on both sides of dams.
Well, yeah, dammed on both sides. And you know what? Access is fairly easy. You'd probably be able to drive a machine down there and dig it out. Fairly easy, because it's mostly all cleared, so.
Okay. Has anybody got any other concerns there for tonight?
Glenda, I just want to know how the property standards, is going, how things are developing with, properties getting looked at. I had another call from, ratepayer of Webwood, and
And that was
it
received,
appears,
in
Yeah.
writing, so it's been forwarded, and I've also replied
Okay.
to her, yeah.
okay. So I'm just checking on that, but we did have other stuff. I'm just wondering if it's progressing well, or,
Yeah, the property standards officer had to be off for a little bit of time, so he's just catching up.
okay,
That's one of his duties, is to get a report to council.
right.
Okay, very good. So there'll be a report forthcoming from him.
It, well, like I had indicated at the last meeting, it's not going to be specific, but it's going to say the number of complaints and the number of resolutions and so on.
Perfect.
Any other concerns, anybody tonight?
Yes, there is one more thing. Glenn is speaking. I've been contacted. I was just wondering if the government has handed down anything regarding tax relief for some businesses in the area that are unable to have clients because of the borders being closed. Is there any information that can be accessed through the municipality?
Nothing that we don't know it or have anything more than what the provincial government's giving or out either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I assume you're talking about resorts, Glenda?
Yes. Well, a lot of their clientele, some of them 80% are U.S.
Yeah,
And so
US
now
or European.
They're able to open, but they can't. You know, like there's just all this stuff. They've had to postpone things, and they're just wondering what kind of
if there's
help
any
they can
relief,
get.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But the Premier of BC talked about that there today there, and he doesn't want any Americans coming into BC there because of the caseload going up there.
Yes. But it's how it's looking is regional. So I mean, but that doesn't say that the border's not closed from Canada to U.S. So that has a big impact on our tourist area here. Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking for relief for the operators is what you're talking about, right?
Well, for the actual businesses, because they still have, they
the
have
tourist operators.
their stuff to look after, and they only get a certain amount, which is a pittance compared to what their businesses run. So it's just wondering if there was anything out there.
This is Pat. There's been several of the business owners on television, and they're all trying the same thing, and there's nothing that we can do, really. I mean, if somebody comes over from the United States, they're going to have to stay for 2 weeks because they've got to be quarantined. So a lot of the resorts are now switching over to long-term staying.
But at this point in time, there's nobody allowed to come over. That's their point. Like some of them have like 80% population of U.S. booked, and they're not allowed to come over. So that's what they've lost, is that revenue for the whole season.
Well, it's flying the pack. It's the same with all the resorts, unfortunately.
Exactly. Yeah.
Any other concerns, anybody?
Yeah, this is Pat. I had a concern. The ratepayer lives next door. He's very upset over loss of a lot of tires on his car. He had to miss a shift at work in Sudbury because of flat tires. He couldn't even get to work one day. It was all on the Gulch Road and the part of Saxter Road area. Last year I had asked shops to put some gravel on there, and the only gravel we got there was the stuff out of our pit, which, as we all know, is just arrowhead. And this is basically where the individual is getting most of his flat tires. I know they did a good section of our road here today, and I'm happy for that. But maybe we can do something about that gravel that's over on Gulch Road and the part of Saxter Road to maybe help this. I don't know. He was trying to get a hold of Glenn. I don't know. Glenn called him back, but the resident wasn't at home all the time. He's been trying to get his farming done. So maybe he's talked to Glenn so in the meantime, and I'm not privy to that kind of information anymore. So, but I know he's very upset over how many tires he lost.
Yeah, we just did Cutler Lake Road there, and we calciumed there, finished that area. So I don't know where Glenn. I'll ask him where he's going there now to gravel.
They're doing Birch Lake.
Doing Birch Lake right now.
Yeah, they did part of Birch Lake here today past our place. Yeah.
They were.
I was very surprised that we even got gravel because it wasn't on the list of roads to get done, so I was very surprised that they were putting gravel out there today.
Yeah, but I think they're putting the gravel where it needs the gravel there.
Yeah,
I think the grader operators and the managers working together.
yeah, okay, yeah.
They were still putting it on Lee Valley Road today, or what they were going by anyways. Our trucks were still going by.
Yeah,
Well, it
good
was all
job on Cutler Lake Road.
today.
What's
Okay.
that, Kevin?
I said they did a good job on Cutler Lake and Moose Lake Road.
That's good, yeah. So anyway, it's just that lousy, horrible gravel from our pit that's on Saxon Road and Bolts Road that's causing all the trouble for this area anyway.
Okay, we'll look into it there, Pat, there, and see what we can get done there.
Okay, thank you. Rather than have a lawsuit, we've been through that already, paying for tires.
Okay, any other comments before we go into closed session?
No, I have nothing.
Okay, be it resolved, we move into closed session to consider personal matters about identifiable individuals, including municipal or local board employees, respecting staffing positions. Cheryl, will you move it there?
Yes, I will.
Dale, will you second it?
Yes, I will.
Susie, you for or against?
Or,
Kevin?
I'm for.
Pat?
In favor?
Glenda?
or,
Motion carried. Be it resolved that this closed session be adjourned and the regular meeting be resumed. Dale, will you move it there?
I move it.
Susan, will you second it?
I'll second it.
Kevin, you in favor?
I'm in favor.
Pat?
I'm in favor.
Glenda?
In favor?
Cheryl?
Yes.
And I'm in favor. Motion carried. Okay, be it resolved that Ruth Clare shall be appointed to the position of treasurer tax collector to be effective October the 1st, 2020 upon enactment of an appointment by law. How come October?
Because Pat's gonna be on holidays. And then officially, she's gone here at the end of August.
Okay,
She doesn't start retirement until the end of September.
okay, as long as we're covered.
No, we're covered.
Okay. Well, yeah, I always want to make sure. You never know.
Yeah.
Pat, are you in favor of that? Move it.
That will move that motion.
Glenda, will you second it?
Yes, I will.
Cheryl, you for or against?
Or,
Dale?
I'm for.
Susan?
or,
Kevin?
I'm for.
And I'm for it. Motion carried. Motion. Be it resolved that Amanda Ellsworth has successfully completed her probationary period and is hereby deemed as a permanent employee there. Glenda, will you move it there?
yes, I'll move it.
Cheryl, will you second it?
Yes, I will.
Dale, you for or against?
I'm for.
Susan?
Or,
Kevin?
I'm for.
And Pat?
Pat in favor.
Glenda, you're in favor?
Yes, I'm in favor.
Motion carried. Resolution, be it resolved that Amanda Ellsworth be registered for the next OACA primer and on planning course at a cost of $365 plus HST. Cheryl, will you move it there?
Yes, I will.
Dale, will you second it?
Yes, I will.
Susan, you for or against?
Or,
Kevin?
I'm for.
Pat?
In favor.
Glenda?
or,
Motion carried.
This is Pat.
Yes, go ahead, Pat.
Tim, I'm just wondering if maybe we contact, we talked about, Paul and Samantha going on that ice preparation course. And just check and see that it doesn't get filled up with names before we have a chance to get our people's names in there.
Yeah, I don't think we can even enroll yet, but I'll confirm that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's better to be proactive at this time of day.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything else there for tonight?
Not here.
The flowers look nice.
And that course might even be online for all we know now, because, there's so many things they're doing online now.
But I think that course, you should be hands-on there.
Well, I think it is, yeah, but,
If anything, they may postpone it again.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
I appreciate you looking into it, Kim.
No problem.
Okay, be it resolved, this meeting be adjourned till the next regular meeting or the call of the chair there. Susan, you move that motion?
I'll move.
Kevin, you second it?
I second.
Pat, for or against?
I'm in favor.
Glenda, you for or against?
In favor?
Cheryl?
In favor?
Dale?
Or
I'm in favor. Motion carried. Thank you there, everybody there.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
everyone.
Good night.
Bye.